After Yuji awakens Sukuna's curse technique Shrine Cleave and Dismantle, Yuji utterly dominates Sukuna in one-on-one combat to the point that Sukuna becomes enraged and triggered, even thinking, does Yuji intend to climb onto my level? With the editor saying that Yuji is not just gonna rival Sukuna but surpass him, with even Urume being afraid that Yuji may be a problem to Sukuna because he has the same potential as Sukuna, the king, the strongest in history, and we are witnessing it right now in real time. But just how strong is Yuji right now, and how strong will Yuji be at the end of this fight? The strongest sorcerer of tomorrow, the one who will live up to Gojo's legacy and even surpass Gojo as well as Sukuna himself. That is what we're here to talk about today, just how strong is Itadori Yuji after his awakening. So let's get into this. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it helps out a lot, thank you. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality JJK content just like this. Less than 10% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if you love JJK, I assure you, you won't regret subscribing. And of course, thank you to the special grade members of the channel. Let's get right into this. So first of all, JJK chapter 257, the translations are out, so let me read this for you here. Urume asks Sukuna before Sukuna fights Gojo, Itadori Yuji, what exactly is he? He's Kenjaku's child. Couldn't tell you from which body of theirs though. I felt something from him deeply reminiscent of you, Sukuna-sama. This was before he laughed at his hilarious expression. It's not simply the leftover dregs of your power, but closer to an empty husk, actively retaining elements of yourself. Blame Kenjaku, he wouldn't have a kid for no reason. The one who Kenjaku coupled up with was likely a fragment of myself, reincarnated, referring to Yuji's father, Itadori. Our souls are the same. A fragment of you. I was to be a twin, but I rejected such fate. Forced by my mother's own blight, I consumed a fragment of myself on the brink of starvation. Right here referring to when he ate his own twin in the womb. His soul bounced around aimlessly until it eventually fell into Kenjaku's hands. You know this already, but Itadori Yuji was not only being bred to be a player in the culling game, but also to seal my fingers. That much was likely necessary to ensure his strength as a vessel. Is that so? As Urume thinks to themselves, does that mean within Itadori Yuji lies a latent potential equal to Sukuna-sama, as they sweat and worry about that? And not only that, but during the fight, as Sukuna is getting pummeled, he thinks, does he intend to climb up to my level? As Yuji stands his ground, eating all of Sukuna's attacks and just completely beats him. There's no sugarcoating what Yuji does to him. And of course, at the end of the chapter, the editor himself says, don't just rival the king, surpass him, which is pretty insane. All of what I just said, as crazy as it sounds and as hard as it is to believe, I know a lot of people want to refute this and say there's no way Yuji will ever reach Sukuna's level or Gojo's level, but in this chapter 3 separate times, it's not just saying that Yuji will approach his level or has his potential, but it's saying that Yuji will even surpass him. That is the path that Yuji's going right now. And that's why I say Yuji is going to be the strongest of tomorrow. It does come from what someone said recently that went viral, where it's Sukuna the strongest in history versus Yuji the strongest of tomorrow, and that's being realized right here, right now. As Yuji uses Cleave and Dismantle in this chapter, and let me read this for you too. Sukuna thinks he can use it. As the narrator says, there are currently 2 curse techniques residing within Itadori Yuji. The first, blood manipulation engraved by absorbing the cursed wound paintings, numbers 4 through 9. The second one, drawn out by the awakened state achieved through Black Flash. The technique engraved upon the reincarnated body of Ryomen Sukuna Shrine. As Yuji right in front of us uses Cleave and Dismantle to cut a pillar and throw it at Sukuna, and not just that, Yuji grabs Sukuna's leg, and it appears like he rips it off. It's not too clear exactly what happened, whether it's a deep cut or if he cut the whole leg off, but the fact doesn't change that they just use Cleave and Dismantle on Sukuna. However, Sukuna does comment, it's the same technique, yet the error and the sorcerer using it brings about a sizable disparity. How foolish. A freshly learned technique means low output. What's much more troublesome are those blows. Which is funny that he's saying this because the technique did just pierce Sukuna. Again, at the bare minimum, it was a deep cut, or possibly he just cut Sukuna's leg off. I do think it's just a deep cut though, but it's not as clear on the panel, and Sukuna does have his leg in the other panels. I don't imagine he healed it because he still hasn't healed the other 2 arms that were cut off, so very likely just a deep cut, but still, it is very powerful. If it's able to do that on true form Sukuna, nerfed or not, I get it, Sukuna's not nearly as strong as he is because of all these nerfs, but still, to do that on a nerf Sukuna is insane. If Yuji were to use this Cleave and Dismantle, the Shrine, on anyone that wasn't Sukuna, it would just kill them, barring the top tiers of course. But to be honest, if he does a cleave on even any of the top tiers, it would still do a lot of damage. And remember, Sukuna's saying it's only at a low output because it's freshly learned. Yuji just awakened it at this moment. This is very reminiscent of Gojo after he awakened, with the massive gap between Gojo after he awakened and the year he had to train with his new awakened powers, with him becoming so strong after that year that he was undoubtedly one of the strongest in history and the strongest of the modern age, with a massive gap between him and anybody else. And that's what we're seeing in this fight. Yuji is growing exponentially, and I truly do mean exponentially, as he continues to fight and as he awakened through that first Black Flash and gets stronger with each Black Flash, as he learns to use Sukuna's cursed energy more, as he just got his curse technique and is learning how to use that better. And as was explained by Todo, his blood manipulation should get a lot stronger after hitting that first Black Flash. Granted, we haven't seen him use blood manipulation ever since he's hit the first Black Flash, but I do imagine it's going to be very powerful and a lot better than it was before he hit the Black Flash. flash. But now let's actually talk about how strong is current Yuji. So let me just give you a rundown on all of Yuji's current movesets. He's got Shrine, Cleave and Dismantle, he's got Blood Manipulation, he's got Direct Soul Damage, he's got Soul Swap, which that one could be a body swap variation of Kenjaku's, we're not too sure, but the narrator did only say that Yuji has 2 curse techniques, so it's unlikely that it's a Kenjaku curse technique, and more likely that it's a soul swap that he's doing via, you know, whatever soul manipulation that he has. And it seems like he can Black Flash at will. I'll put question marks or a big asterisk at that, since maybe Yuji's just in the zone, but it does look like he's somehow doing it at will, which even though Gojo said that you can't do it at will, it does go into the whole theory that Yuji will be the first in history, something that not even Gojo and Sukuna can do, that Yuji will be the first to be able to use Black Flashes at will. But regardless, he's got unreal physical strength and durability, just generally, he is a physical beast, and also he's got Sukuna level potential. This is how strong Yuji is right now, and do remember that Yuji's regular strength and output, and even just cursed energy reinforcement, is improving as he's fighting Sukuna, especially after that first Black Flash. It must be off the charts, because that's usually how it is after you awaken through a Black Flash, and this is the first time Yuji's hit a Black Flash with the new ingredient, which is Sukuna's cursed energy. He has never hit a Black Flash with that ingredient, which is Blood Manipulation, but also Sukuna's cursed energy with a Black Flash, which is why it's his second time awakening with a Black Flash with these new ingredients. It's exactly why he awakened the Cleave and Dismantle, as I explained in this video before, and correctly predicted that yes, he would get Shrine, Cleave and Dismantle after hitting that Black Flash because of Todo's explanation in chapter 49, and that should also mean the Sukuna cursed energy that he's got, because do remember Yuji has a lot of Sukuna cursed energy, so much so that he's the same as a Sukuna finger. A cursed object should have grown exponentially after that Black Flash, and he should have learned how to use it properly after hitting it, with him only growing more and more in the fight, as even Sukuna comments, wait, is he actually climbing to my level? Is he approaching my level? Which triggers Sukuna completely. And do remember, even after everything I listed, I am not even including Yuji potentially getting the flames, you know, whatever else is in the black box, or Yuji getting a domain expansion, which I think both of those things are very likely, especially the domain expansion one. We have Malevolent Shrine, and if Yuji has the Curse Technique Shrine and he makes a domain expansion with the Technique Shrine, who's to say the legendary theories of Yuji getting Malevolent Shrine won't come true? Imagine just how crazy that is. And now it's time to compare Yuji to other sorcerers and see where he scales in the top 5 or even top 10 of the verse. Right now, just in terms of base to base, so not including domains, Yuji I do believe is 3rd, and he is climbing up the ranks as he's approaching Gojo and Sukuna's level. Again, I know that sounds utterly insane, but Uraume is saying Yuji has Sukuna's latent potential. Sukuna is thinking Yuji is climbing up to my level, and even the narrator saying that Yuji is not just going to equal the king but surpass him. So if it sounds insane and outlandish to you, don't get angry at me, get angry at GEGE who's writing this. I still don't think current Yuji is as strong as Gojo and Sukuna, but do remember that he is approaching their level, and the editor is foreshadowing that he will even surpass Sukuna with that time approaching soon, which of course if he does surpass Sukuna, or even if he equals Sukuna, he will by extension surpass Gojo as well, because Gojo admittedly has said twice after he died that Sukuna is stronger than him, even though the 10 Shadows he said he would have lost, and just generally he said he died to someone who is stronger than him, so he's happy about that. So even if he doesn't surpass Sukuna and just reaches Sukuna's level, Yuji should still be stronger than Gojo by that definition, which again, I'm not saying he is right now, it's the fact that he's approaching that level and will soon reach it. That's why in the thumbnail you can see he is going to be the strongest sorcerer of tomorrow. I do believe when it's all said and done, and if, this is a big if, Yuji is alive at the end of the story, Yuji will be the top 1 dog of the entire verse. Because remember, even after Gojo awakened, it took him a year of training to fully become the absolute peak and monstrosity that he was, and to become undisputedly the strongest about in the entire world. That is sort of what I'm picturing for Yuji. If Yuji is that strong, and even Sukuna saying the only reason the output's low for Shrine is because it's a fresh new technique, what about at the end of the series if you give Yuji some time to train, maybe a couple months, maybe a year or 2, or even a 10-year time skip, however long at the end of the series, when we see Yuji, he should be at least as strong as Sukuna, if not having completely surpassed him. And of course that goes double for Gojo, since if he's as strong as Sukuna, he should be stronger than Gojo, and Uraume did say he had Sukuna's potential. But what about Yuji as of right now? Again, I did say that if we're not including domains, I have him as top 3, but if you do give him a domain, which I do think he'll get, and this isn't even including the flames, you know, he is going to be stronger than any other character if he has a domain as well. He would be stronger than Kenjaku, he would be stronger than Hakari, he'd be stronger than Maki. I mean, to be honest, I think he's already stronger than Maki, because he does counter Maki hard, because he is someone who can heal soul damage, so even if Maki can cut him, he'll be able to heal that, because he'll be able to heal his soul. He is aware of the outline of his own soul, and of course he'll be stronger than Yuta as well if he does get his domain expansion, whatever that is. And here's the craziest part, we have seen with Kenjaku being a prime example, if you have multiple curse techniques, you can choose to switch out whatever curse technique you have to be the sure hit of your domain. Yuta also did this as well, so if Yuji does get a domain expansion, he'll be able to choose whether he wants a sure hit to be a blood manipulation sure hit or a shrine related sure hit, so he could easily put the same sure hit that Sukuna has, recreate that and put it in his own domain, and of course he'll have the option to choose whatever his sure hit actually does. So instead of cutting things, maybe it can uncut things, or if Yuji gets curse technique reversal, because he does have a curse technique, he may be able to uncut things, which may be a good counter to Sukuna as well. And I do want to touch upon that, the curse technique reversal that Yuji may be able to use for Shrine Clean and Dismantle. I think this could be very useful, and there could be a reason why Sukuna's never used it, but for Yuji, specifically for Yuji to be honest, it would be the perfect technique, and it could be a technique that can reattach things rather than splitting things apart, because we know Cleave and Dismantle, or at least that part of Shrine, is a cutting technique, a slashing technique, as we've seen, you know, with both Yuji and Sukuna. So if the technique, its reversal, would be able to reattach things, it could be possible that you wouldn't be able to use it on yourself, but only on others. So maybe Sukuna does have the technique reversal, but because Sukuna's always fighting alone, he's never fighting with anyone else or with allies, he has never at any point had the opportunity or even needed the opportunity to use the reattachment, because again, he's just fighting by himself. But for someone like Yuji, who's got a ton of allies, this could be perfect. So let's say Maki and Yuta are going in and both of them get their arms cut off, Yuji can use the reversal and just reattach the arms, which will save so much cursed energy, because reverse curse technique costs a lot of cursed energy, and especially when you're using it on others, that would cost a lot as well. So not only would it be very cost effective, but he could do it in an instant as well, instantly reattaching people's limbs. It's very similar to Urahara from Bleach, how his Bankai can reattach things. So maybe Yuji can do that for other people, or maybe he'll be able to do it for himself and reattach himself. Perhaps there's a specific reason why Sukuna can't use the reversal of the curse technique on himself, which to be honest is odd, because a lot of the top tiers such as Kenjaku and Gojo have technique reversal, so why doesn't Sukuna have it? I hope at the very least Yuji uses it, and there is a clear reason why Sukuna hasn't used it. The possibilities are endless, and the fact that he's got Sukuna's potential, it's not like Megami's situation where Megami's got the potential to become Gojo's level, but he never even came close to reaching it. Yuji is currently realizing that potential in real time. He has got so many techniques. He is fighting Sukuna one-on-one, actively lowering his output with each punch with his own power. Like, I get that Sukuna's nerfed and was already heavily nerfed to begin with, and he's fought 50 people before Yuji, but even so, Sukuna becoming more nerfed isn't a free pass to Sukuna, but that's more of a buff to Yuji, because this is Yuji's power. This is Yuji's ability that he can nerf people. Granted, the nerfs wouldn't be nearly as strong, if not at all, against people who only have one soul such as Yuta or Hikari, but Yuji can still choose to attack the outline of someone's soul, which if someone doesn't have the ability to heal their soul with reverse curse technique, which is something not many characters can even do in the series, then they wouldn't be able to heal the damage that Yuji causes with them that's directly attacking their soul. Again, it wouldn't lower their output because that's something that's only happening because Sukuna has Megami inside of him, but it would still do damage that would be unhealable unless that person that Yuji's attacking can see the outline of their soul and heal their soul with reverse curse technique. And it's really awesome because I made so many videos. The most popular videos on my channel, if you check, are all about why Yuji's going to be the honored one, he's going to be a complete beast, he's going to be the strongest there is, and it seems like it's all being realized. All those theories are coming true, and Yuji right now is the strongest, and as a Yuji fan, I am eating good, and I know all of the Yuji fans out there, this is just peak fiction for us. And thanks to Duck's Art for letting me use their art in the thumbnail. They are a very underrated artist. I would highly recommend checking them out, so thanks again to them. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, it helps out a ton, thank you. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for a ton of consistent quality JJK content just like this. Like I said in the intro, less than 10% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if you love JJK, I assure you, you won't regret subscribing. And of course, thank you to all the channel members as well. It is always much appreciated, guys. But that's all from me. I hope you have a great day and take care.